Another political rally at Roy Nunaly's farm here in Walton County. And Roy, tell us about it.
Well, we got everybody coming today. We got the senator, we got the governor, secretary of state, all the commissioners, every elected official in the state of Georgia coming because this is where the votes are in Walton County. 80% Republican county, and that's why everybody's here.
Are Democrats welcome?
There ain't no Democrats in Walton County.
Okay, I thought I'd bring that up. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Roy, this is an annual event, and sometimes you have it 2 or 3 times a year, and you have a great turnout.
Yeah, we have it's gotten bigger and bigger every year, strictly because Walton County is getting more and more Republican, and more Republicans want to come. So we're getting a great party development here in Walton County. It's a big deal.
What are your predictions? Would you like to make any predictions about the Republicans who might get office or get elected for a term?
All our state elected officials are Republican, and they're going to stay that way.
Okay, all right. So I noticed we have a lot of signs between here and the main road up here. If signs get them votes, they're going to get a lot of them because they have so many signs on the way.
Yeah, I need to charge for those signs. I'd get rich.
Yeah, you could get $1 a sign. You wouldn't have to work for the next 2 weeks.
I'd give up politics.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Roy, it's always a pleasure to see you, and we appreciate the invitation of being out here.
Brother, we sure appreciate y'all coming out here every year, and we look forward to seeing you every year.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Roy Roberts. I'm talking to State Representative Bruce Williamson. Most everybody in Walton County knows Bruce. Bruce, you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that.
Tell us about what you think will happen in the future in the way of politics in Georgia.
Well, I hope that come this November that we'll have a clean slate of Republicans going back to represent all of Georgia at every constitutional office level and all the state house and Senate races as well.
Okay, so you have a majority. Is that what you were saying?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to doing everything I can to help get Governor Deal and Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle elected, as well as supporting whomever our U.S. Senate candidate's going to be. And we have both the two folks in the runoff, David Perdue and Jack Kingston, are out here this evening to politic, and one of the two of them will be going up against the Senate nominee, Michelle Nunn.
Okay, tell us about others.
Which race in particular then?
Well, any race that it's going to be of great interest to the voters of Georgia.
Well, then we have our 10th congressional district race. Mike Collins and our own Walton County's own Jody Heiss are going to be going head-to-head here on July 22nd to see who'll be representing the people, the Republican nominee for the 10th congressional district, and they will be the congressman because I believe there's no Democratic opposition for that race.
Okay, what about the Democratic candidate running against the governor of Georgia? What do you think about that race?
Well, Roy likes to call him Little Jimmy Carter. Roy Roberts, our Walton County GOP chairman. Very likable young man, but he's too liberal for me. I think he's too liberal for the people of Walton County. Certainly too liberal from me and my family.
What about the U.S. Senate and former Senator Nunn's daughter?
Well, in similar things, you can't say anything bad about the family. The Nunn family is well respected in Georgia, as is their daughter Michelle, but her policy and ideas are too liberal for me.
Okay, well, just wanted to find out. Bruce, it's always good to see you. You're a good man, you're a fair politician, and everybody likes what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate those kind words.
Thank you, Bruce Williamson. We have another good Republican man here with us today, Gary Black. Gary, good to see you in Walton County.
I'm going to tell y'all, this is the best. This is the center of the universe for politics in Georgia tonight, so we're awful glad to be here. Roy's been a mighty good friend, the whole family, and mighty good farmers too.
Right, and by the way, we're in a pasture out here, so you may have to do this once in a while.
I'm accustomed to that. That's what we have back in Commerce, and so we're right at home here.
Well, you're Agriculture Commission, so this makes you want to walk around and see what's happening.
It really does. I tell you what, we got so many good things going on in Georgia, and I tell you, I don't think there's ever been a more exciting time to be in agriculture.
Really?
Then with us, our whole notion, and got our Georgia Grown program that's really going about branding Georgia-produced products, and it's going really, really well. So folks may want to visit that at georgiagrown.com and see what it's all about there. But pretty exciting things, and I think good prospects for a 2014 crop.
Okay, Gary, tell me one thing about the farmers, especially in South Georgia, having a hard time getting people to work for them because a lot of the Mexican-type people have either gone back or refusing to work for some reason. Which one is it?
Well, I'll tell you what we've seen is a little not quite as intense as it was a couple of years ago.
Really?
But more of our vegetable producers, fruit producers, have gone into the H-2A program. As opposed to being with regular contract workers that they may not have known where the workers came from. They work for essential, farm worker coordinators, so to speak. But going through the federal program, the H-2A program is the route they should be taking. But where the breakdown is, the federal government has just really let us all down in having a workable guest worker program that is cost effective for the farmer, but also kind of reduces some of the bureaucracy. One of the largest bureaucracies around this whole labor issue, and I've testified before Congress a couple of times with some solutions, and unfortunately all we've seen is the calendar turn. The only thing that's changed is the calendar, and so I'm hoping we're going to get some of these new guys elected and really get on some immigration reform things that doesn't have amnesty in it, but make sure we have a good, stable workforce.
Well, Gary, we had an unusual long winter with cold spells happening here and there. Is that going to have any effect on the crops in Georgia?
We're a little late. That's basically where we are. We had to change it. We changed some of the crop mix. A lot of corn seed, livestock corn seed was taken back because they just simply couldn't get it planted. Peanuts and cotton were both going to be up, but they're a little late right now. But what we're coming into, have had some freeze in peaches, have lost some peaches, but by and large, good peach crop, very good blueberry crop. We're really excited. Our guys have been a couple of years waiting on a good crop, so it's good. It's about time.
Right.
But spring vegetables are, had a little problem with some of the early dampness, but right now everything's kind of coming on strong, and we're still cautiously optimistic. That's what farmers do. They're cautiously optimistic about the prospects for 2014. And of course, cattle and poultry are the same way. They're actually got a pretty good market. Dairy is pretty good. Our milk producers are doing pretty good right now. But I've got beef cattle at my house, and I've never seen beef cattle at the prices they are now. And that's probably with this cow market. Overall cow population, mama cows are with the lowest population since 1954 right now. So it's true supply-demand situation, and got some cattle. It's a good time to be in the market.
Right. So I was going to ask you about the prices. Are they comparable? Are they low? Or would you like for them to be a lot higher?
Well, I'll tell you what, livestock, I don't know how we could stand it much higher. It's pretty good in the business. And our poultry producers, they suffered through the winter because they had a lot more cost associated with heating their houses. Propane prices really shot up and got in some of their pockets. But when we look at vegetables, we look at Vidalia onion crop right now. It's very strong. Still some good prices in that arena. I think blueberries are going to continue strong, and we'll hopefully we'll wait to see what happens with summertime. It's who knows what's going to happen in the Midwest. That affects soybean, and certainly out west affects cotton prices. But we're still hopeful some profit potential out there, mostly across the board. So again, we'll wait to see what 2014. Hope the Lord blesses us with the right kind of rain at the right time. And
that's a great attitude. Great attitude. By the way, you mentioned Vidalia onions. Well, every year, me and my family, we buy a good 2 sacks of Vidalia onions, and we put them in one of our refrigerators.
Yes, sir.
And I had to throw away 3 big ones this year to make room for this year's crop. Yes. Because I had 3 big ones from last year left over.
Well, one thing your viewers may be aware of, we established and had some ongoing dialogue with Vidalia onion industry because the state of Georgia, the Department of Agriculture owns the trademark for Vidalia.
Really?
We own that's the way it was set up years ago, and so it's our business we have to defend that trademark because that's important for all farmers we want consumers to be able to get what they're paying for, but also farmers to protect trademarks so they have the value in the crop.
What about fake onions?
That's our job to enforce that. But what we've had some problems in the last couple of years is product going onto the market too early, and so we established a firm pack date this year that is proving right now to have really helped. It's helping stabilize prices, but it's also making sure we get mature, ripe onions on the shelves for for consumers to enjoy. That way they'll know wherever they are in this country, they buy a Vidalia onion that they can count on it lasting just as long as yours did last year. So that's important.
Right. Gary, good to talk to you, and welcome to Walton County. I know that Roy Roberts has a great turnout of people whenever he has an event like this.
He really does. And Roy and his family, they're anchors of good conservative politics in this region as well as all over the state. And I'm thankful they've served as county chairs for me and my campaign here in Walton County, and hope we expect to move forward and have a good, vigorous campaign this fall. And I'd like to ask all you viewers for their vote. We definitely need that in October, and work to earn their trust as we move forward and trying to keep Georgia growing.
Well, our listeners and viewers should remember that. And again, Gary Black. They need to say that over 12 times.
That's right. You visit the campaign at votegaryblack.com. And again, our issue is relative to Georgia grown products. I hope you take a look at georgiagrown.com. There's some interesting things we're doing at the department. We'll carry that same kind of vision forward for the next 4 years. Thank y'all. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
We have another good man here with us, Brian Kemp. Brian, welcome to Walton County.
Great to be back.
Tell us about yourself. How's things going?
It's going good. Well, I'm in the Georgia Secretary of State. It's good to be back in Walton County. This is one of the best political events of the year, and things are going good. We're very busy in the office right now, as you can imagine, getting ready to certify the election that we just had on May the 20th, and then we're preparing for the runoff elections, which will be, we're going to have a statewide runoff with the U.S. Senate campaign. That'll be coming up here July 22nd.
Well, Brian, my son pulled it up during the last election from your office, and that's official when we see it on your webpage.
Well, actually, on the website the night of the election, those are unofficial results.
Are they?
Yeah, that's unofficial. We actually have to receive the information from the counties by hand in person in a secure way. That's why it takes a few days after the election, usually about a week, to certify everything. But usually those results are very close.
Is it a hassle for you?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a hassle. It's just a lot of work. We enjoy doing it. It's a big part of what we do, making sure that we have fair elections, but that they're also secure as well.
Okay. Well, I know that you are doing a great job up there, because the last time I saw you was on television. I don't remember what channel it was, but I understand the TV stations in Atlanta keep pretty close check on everything going on for the state.
Yeah, they do, and it keeps us busy. Of course, we have a lot of citizens that do that as well, and that's part of being in public service. But I enjoy that, and we're doing a lot of good things. We also have our corporate registration annual renewal period ends this Friday, so anybody that owns a corporation out there, you have to register it every year with our office. The deadline is midnight this Saturday. Excuse me, I said Friday. It's this Saturday.
Okay. Well, tell us how. Can we pull your email up or pull your information up, and tell us how our listeners and viewers can do that?
Yeah, you can go to our website, which is sos.ga.gov, and then if there's any issues you need to get in touch with the office on, whether it's corporations, elections, securities, professional licensing, there's places where you can email or give us a call.
Okay. And anything else you think the listeners and viewers should know?
I just tell everybody, don't forget about that July 22nd runoff, and I'll be on the ballot this November, so I'd love to have their support as well in the fall election.
Do you think the Republicans will have any problems?
Well, I think it's going to be a hard-fought campaign, but I think we have the people and the vision for the state to continue moving forward and producing good-paying jobs and more of them, and that's what we're all working on.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping by our broadcast booth here, and always good to see you.
Great to see you. Good to be back. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Jody House. I think everybody around in this area and some other areas of the state of Georgia know Jody House. At least I do.
Well, thank you. Always great to be here at this spectacular event. Great turnout. Always good to see you.
Well, how's things looking, Jody?
Things are looking great. We are extremely pleased to be in the runoff and to have finished in first place in this, and we're looking forward now to the next 8 weeks and jumping over the next hurdle.
Okay, so you're still having to work hard.
Oh, goodness. We started the very next day
Oh,
after the election. Yes, sir. There's no time for rest. they say sleep is overrated, and I'm beginning to believe it.
Okay. Well, everybody that I talk to remembers you and remembers your background, so that's a plus for you.
Yes, sir, it is. We're very grateful to have had so much support and people as the fight with the ACLU and the IRS. And now, really, we've got to take the battle to Washington. We, the people, are responsible for the condition of our country. And this is, with our campaign, this is about we, the people, and about us standing up and saying we want our country back.
Well, I just saw on Fox News before this afternoon, Obama had a news conference saying he was going to pull almost 10,000 American troops out of Afghanistan by 2015. Is this another one of his sneaky political moves?
Well, I didn't see that report, but it very well may be. It's shameful what we're doing to our veterans and what we're doing across the world as far as our military. We're not showing any strength or leadership at all. And, if we're on a mission to fight a war, we need to fight the war, we need to win, we need to get back home.
But how can you fight a war pulling people out of the area?
That's my point exactly. And to say we're pulling out, our foreign policy is horrifying at this point.
Right. Well, do you think the situation in Washington now, with all that President Obama's trying to do, that he's setting himself up to try to run for another term somewhere or another? Because, he said he had a pen and a telephone. Well,
I don't think we're going to put up with that. It's time to move on, and that's going to happen.
Okay, so you're looking forward to the election day, and that will be?
July 22nd. Early voting actually begins July 1st, so we're not too far away. It'll be here before we know it.
Okay, tell us how people can pull your webpage up.
Thank you. Our website is jodyhice.com, JODYHICE.com.
I want to mention this because I just heard you a few weeks ago at the church I attend here in Walton County. You did a great job delivering that message on Sunday morning at a church here in Walton County, and you're still doing ministry work as well.
Yes, sir. We're being as active as we can, and very blessed to have invitations to speak at various churches throughout the 10th district, and we take up every opportunity we can. And that's not a political message. It's a message about us standing up and getting involved in what's happening in our country.
Well, if you remember, folks, that are viewing this situation here, that this guy here was pastor of the Bethlehem First Baptist Church for a long, long time, and he wanted to get into politics, and he got into it with both feet.
Both feet, both arms, everything but my nose sticking out in the water.
Okay. Jody, good to see you, buddy.
It's great to see you as well.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another great man here in the Republican Party doing a great job for the insurance industry in the state of Georgia and ready to help you out. He not only helps the insurance industry, he helps you out as an individual. And, of course, he is a great man doing a great job, Mr. Ralph Hudgens.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you. My job, well, I actually have three jobs. I'm the insurance commissioner, I'm the industrial loan commissioner, which are small loan companies, and I'm also the fire safety commissioner. And I appoint the state fire marshal. But in all three of those jobs, my number one goal is to protect the consumers in the state of Georgia. And I take that very seriously. That's why we've got a large fraud investigation unit that if anybody suspects fraud, insurance fraud, or any other type, arson, they need to call us. We have an arson hotline, and we want, because when the insurance company is defrauded, everybody pays for it.
Right, absolutely. Well, like I told you before we started recording this interview, that I've been in the insurance business for 30 years now, and have been coming up on license renewal for another 2 years. And we do it by the book, by your book, the state of Georgia book of insurance. And anybody that would like to contact you can call your number.
Absolutely. Call us at area code 404-656-9140 and ask for me. We have another number that I'll have to look at my card and tell you what it is.
Okay.
But it's an 800 number. It's 800-656-2298, and that's our consumer services division, and somebody there will help you.
Okay, you have a great staff up there helping people.
I have a fantastic staff.
Okay. Well, the situation is now that the insurance industry is all mixed up because of you know who in Washington.
Right.
How do you cope with this?
Well, the Obamacare really, our responsibility was to determine whether or not the products that were being offered in Georgia were properly priced. And once we made that determination, I, along with the governor, decided that we were not going to do anything in the administration of this law. If they wanted to administer in Georgia, they had to do it. We were not going to get involved, and I think that was the right decision. As you look and see the disaster that the veterans hospitals are becoming, that's what we're going to face if Obamacare goes into full engagement.
Okay, so the veterans are going to have a hard time in the future? Is that what you were telling me?
Well, unless they get adequate staff to take care of their needs, they have these lists that they keep pushing them down, and that's the same thing that'll happen to somebody your age or my age. When we get sick, they're going to say, well, you don't have any useful life left, so we'll just push you down and give that service to somebody else earlier. And that's what will happen with Obamacare.
Well, the doctor, the letter I got this week from a doctor saying he no longer accepts my insurance because of the entanglement of rules and regulations of the company and the fact that I'm going to have to look for other insurance company to write my Medicare Advantage program.
That's right. That's what we're finding. We call them skinny networks. The networks are severing their relationship with most of the doctors. They do have a few doctors, but you know, the president said if you like your doctor, you can keep him. That was one of many lies that he said about this.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to keep your doctor because the doctor is not going to participate in these programs.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the information. Is there anything else that you can tell me about the insurance industry?
It's a wonderful industry. I got into it by happenstance when they asked me to be chairman of the insurance committee in the state senate, and I fell in love with the industry, and I wouldn't have any other job in the world. This one I love.
Well, one thing I love that you have done, we used to have to renew our state license every year.
Right.
Now it's every 2 years.
Right.
And that's really a turnaround from what we used to have to do.
Well, and we don't have to do them all in December or November or December. Now you can do it in your month of your birth, and so it really has taken the burden off of us, but the agents love the 2-year license.
Okay, so that's a plus for us, and I appreciate it too. And you're a neighbor to Walton County because you live in Hull, Georgia, right?
Right, in Madison County, out in the country. I don't have as many acres as Roy has here, but I've got a 7-acre front yard. I love it.
Do you?
I do.
Well, I'm sure you do. Well, Mr. Hudgens, Insurance Commissioner of the state of Georgia, I enjoy talking to you because you are one of the top men in insurance.
Thank you.
And you are the top man in Georgia.
Thank you very
much.
much.
And I appreciate you very much.
Thank
and
you.
anything I can do for you,
Well,
all you
let
got
me
to do
know.
is ring my phone.
You let me know.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
We have another politician here with us today at Roy Roberts Farm during this Republican get-together, and a lot of people have gathered up here. Jack Kingston, good to see you.
Miss Deaton, it's great to be here. You know, I'm an Athens boy, and it's always good to get back to these rolling hills.
Right. Yeah, so how's it looking for you?
We feel pretty good about it. You know, we're consolidating the conservative vote, and we're getting a lot of good responses from North to South Georgia, and, you know, working hard, so we feel good.
Okay, well, good. So coming the 22nd of July, that will let you know.
Yes, and I think that people are looking for a conservative, and we're fortunate that we're running, in one sense, against somebody who's most moderate running, and so we feel good about where we are. And I've got a NRA rating of A+, 96% with American Conservative Union, and we think that's real important to people around here.
Well, how do you feel about things going on in Washington, D.C.?
It is absolutely time for a change. I've introduced a contract with America, a 6-point plan that basically reforms government and cuts spending, and we've got to change the status quo.
Right. Well, just today, you know who? He announced that he's pulling all troops out of Afghanistan by 2015. So, why is so much going on across this nation and across the country, across the world? And when troops are needed, he pulls them out.
You know, it's amazing to me. Also, you do not announce to your enemy when you're leaving, particularly in that part of the country, because the only thing the Taliban will do is lay low until you're gone, and then they're going to make the move. You never announce to your enemy what your plans are.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, don't you think that he is also trying to pull one of his shenanigans and get it in where he can run again?
I'm not sure what President Obama is up to, because I've opposed so many of his policies that sometimes when there's always something else out there that you hadn't thought of. But I've represented 5 out of our 8 military installations. Right now I represent Moody, Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield and Kings Bay, and I can tell you, I've always wanted to make sure that our military men and women were the best trained and best equipped. I want them to be safe. I want them to get the job done. Ronald Reagan said this about war: we win, they lose, but President Obama has another view of it. It's we participate and then we come home. It's not victory that he has in mind.
Well, he seems to be giving it away, or giving us away to other countries.
You know, Mr. Deaton, I have been to tree planting ceremonies for young men and women who have lost their lives, and they plant a tree at Fort Stewart for every one of the soldiers that have not come back. When you see that face of war, the young families and the parents who are gathered around at that moment, you realize you can't let them die in vain, and you can't just decide we've lost our will to fight. We got to complete this mission.
Well, he's never been in the military, obviously, because he doesn't know really what's going on. He is guessing, and if someone is informing him of what's going on, it's the wrong information.
You know, I often ask school kids in my area, because we come from a very strong military area, how many of you ever want the American military to fight a fair fight? And those kids get it. They know it's a trick question. We don't ever want our men and women in uniform to fight a fair fight. We want them to be the strongest, the fastest, the toughest there is. We want them to have the best equipment, the fastest airplanes, the most accurate missiles, the strongest tanks. We want that job done, and we want them to be able to come home. And I think that's what we all owe them. I feel like on Memorial Day and Veterans Day we pause, but we should do it 365 days a year to appreciate the men and women in uniform.
Well, look at what he's done to the veterans.
You know, in our area we've built 4 veteran clinics, because I know what a long line can mean to somebody who's older. It could mean life and death. Right. And we have promised them good health care, and they deserve it.
Well, they do deserve it, because they put their lives on the line.
Absolutely, and we are here because of them. You got to take care of your active duty soldiers, but just as much your veterans and your military retirees. And it is worth the investment, because what we invest in them comes back around tenfold in freedom, and you can't really put a price on that.
Why can't he be, you know, Bill Clinton was, you know, he was asked to leave office because of his love affair. Why can't you people ask him to leave office because of what he has done?
Well, I think that with Bill Clinton there was a charge of perjury and lying under oath, and President Obama has done a lot of different things, but there's a different standard. I frankly think our best bet is to take the Senate, get rid of Harry Reid, set the stage for taking back the White House.
And Nancy Pelosi.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've shut down Nancy Pelosi in the House, but the job's not going to be finished until we get a Republican majority in the Senate. And that's why I'm leaving a safe seat to enter this fight to turn America around in the U.S. Senate. We've got to change status quo.
Mr. Kingston, I wanted to ask you about another thing. There's so many people in the United States living off the government, and more people living off the government than people working. Why?
Well, you know, in some cases, you got a lot of able-bodied people who have chosen not to work. You know, unemployment has reached something like 20 million Americans these days, and a lot of them have just dropped out of the labor force. What I have done is introduced Contract with America. It's a 6-point plan. 4 of them are about getting America working again, and we got to have workfare over welfare.
Well, but they're not doing any of it. You go to an establishment like Walmart, sit there and watch the people come in, watch them give a green card. It seems like the Mexicans coming across the border, the first place they go to Social Security office and get a green card. And that means they get free medical situation, they get free drugs, and they get, in a lot of cases, free food.
You know, we have to have common sense. On the food stamp bill, I put an amendment in that said if you're an adult and you're able-bodied, then you ought to be required to work if you're on food stamps. Now, that's the first welfare reform measure that's been passed in about 10 years. We got it into law in 10 different states, and we think it's a step forward, but there's a lot more that we need to be doing to get America working again. One of the things is we got to build the doggone Keystone Pipeline. When President Obama was sworn in, gas was $1.90 a gallon. Today it's $3.60 a gallon.
Right.
We have got to have North American energy.
Right. Well, the situation is everything is out of balance, and it's only going one way. And as he said on television, that he has a pen and a phone, and he'll use either one he wants.
We have to stop his executive orders. We have to defund things that he's doing. You know, he keeps fiddling with Obamacare. Now, I voted against Obamacare. I voted over 40 times to defund Obamacare. But still, what he keeps doing is changing the rules, and they're the rules he even made. He doesn't even follow his own rules.
Well, we can understand that because he doesn't know how. I don't know who his advisors are, but the insurance industry in this nation is in shambles.
Yes, sir. We need to have a market-driven, patient-centered healthcare system, one where consumers have the choices, one where doctors are free to make medical decisions without fear of government retribution if they don't follow an exact plan that's set by some bureaucrat in Washington.
Well, I mentioned it to another interview I had earlier, the fact that the situation now is recently, I've had a letter from a medical doctor. They're not accepting my insurance anymore over Medicare, and they're not accepting the patients except periodically whenever the patient makes an appointment to go see a doctor. Of course, it might be 2 weeks down the line.
You know, it's crazy. My daughter, who is 30 years old, signed up for health care through Obamacare, and she went to see a doctor, and they said, we do not recognize that. Fortunately, she's married and was able to get on her husband's policy.
Right.
But, you know, in my case and my wife, we got 4 kids. They're grown up. We don't need maternity coverage. But that's the kind of stuff that they're forcing on people to have.
We have a great man here, and the state of Georgia, when they elected him, they got a good deal. Nathan Dill, Governor of Georgia.
Well, thank you. It's very nice to be with you again this year. Looks like a bigger crowd perhaps than we even had in the past.
That's right, absolutely. Because it's election year, everybody's coming out to see what they can hear.
That's for sure. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you viewers for the vote of support that I got on the primary.
Well, you don't think you're going to have a hard time, do you?
Well, I think we're going to probably see a close race because there's going to be a lot of outside money coming in on behalf of the Democrat candidate, and we're going to work hard. We think that we're going to be successful, though.
Well, I certainly hope you are, because you brought a lot of jobs into the state of Georgia. You're continuing the effort to get more jobs, put people to work where they can go to the grocery store again.
Exactly right. I believe that a job is the best way we can bring ourselves out of a downturned economy, and we've been very successful. And I'm proud that we're the #1 state in the country in which to do business, and that brings even more jobs when we have that distinction.
The biggest thing in this area is, of course, Caterpillar.
Yes, sir.
And that is one big industry.
It is large, and of course the one that's going to be coming online is the Baxter International Pharmaceutical Company. That's also going to be about 1,800 jobs in total when they are up and operational.
And that's just out of Walton County in Newton.
It's right there on the line. That's right, sure is, certainly is.
Well, Governor, again, I want to say congratulations. I want to say thank you for not being a selfish governor. You're trying to help the people of the state of Georgia by offering and getting job opportunities in the state of Georgia where people can make a living again.
Well, thank you. We believe that's the best thing we can do for our state, and we're going to work hard at it.
Do you have anything in mind that might be coming in the way of industry?
Well, you know, I've been very pleased that practically every week we have major prospects that are talking about looking at Georgia and coming our way, and we've been very fortunate that not only have we been able to attract companies from out of our state, but we're seeing companies that are already here decide to grow and expand their business. And that's even better because they already know us and they feel comfortable being in our state. But wherever we can get jobs from that are good and are good for our people, that's what I'm interested in doing.
Governor, let's turn to the subject of, I turned on the news before coming to this event today, and the news told about 3 shootings in Atlanta, Georgia. What can be done about all of this tragedy that's happening? Because I'm afraid to go to Atlanta, Georgia myself, simply because you can ride down the road and get shot.
Well, we're all, of course, alarmed when we have those kind of things happening. I know that Mayor Kasim Reed has lived up to his promise of putting many more officers on the streets in Atlanta, and I hope that will begin to have a very good effect. I think it will. But we have to all be willing to understand that we have to do a part of trying to prevent violence wherever it happens in our state. We have great law enforcement officers, but they can't be everywhere.
That's true. I understand that. And I was out there one night, and it sounded like I was crawling the infiltration course at Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Well, I can understand that. Sometimes we have that in some of our larger communities all across this country.
Yeah.
But we're of course pleased that we've seen our overall crime rate in Georgia continue to drop, and we're proud of that.
Well, good. And tell our listeners and viewers about, you have a vote coming up real soon.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm pleased to be through the primary process, and I thank all of those who supported me, and hopefully we'll get those who didn't to come back and vote for us in November. We're going to be working hard. We're going to continue to do the kind of things that will improve the quality of life for the citizens of Georgia, improving our education for our children, making sure that we have them trained appropriately for the jobs that are going to be coming our way.
And people who are viewing, I want to say one thing. This man here, when he tells you something, you can rely on it. It's not speculation. You can rely on what this man tells you because he has come a long way. He came when he got elected the first time. He fought the media, the press, and of course he fought a lot of negative situations, but he won it, and we're glad.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today, and I appreciate what's going on with the Republican event here once again at Roy Roberts Farm.
Well, Governor, it's always a pleasure to see you because you are certainly a good man.
Thank you, sir. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we have another politician with us here at Roy Roberts Farm, and Mike Collins. Mike, you're running hard.
Yes, sir. Thank you. First of all, I want to say how much I appreciate all the support that we've gotten in the primary election. It's got us into the runoff, and we look forward to another good 8 weeks of campaigning.
What are your promises?
Promise to send a good common sense businessman
to
Washington with some good core conservative values.
Right.
We've got a number of problems in Washington.
Oh yeah.
But not least of, we've got to get these taxes and these regulations under control. We need to cut taxes, and we need to get our federal agencies under control where we can get this economy going again.
Well, one big problem in Washington is in the White House.
Well, I would agree with you 100% there, and we're going to make some changes in that White House in a couple of years. But we've got to get Congress to work.
Yeah.
We do. I'd say one of the first things that we need to do as Congress is get a good budget. Get a budget and a plan to not only get this country moving forward, but to get that debt paid down.
Looks like they would pass a law that a politician in Washington, D.C. would have to retire at a certain age?
If you're talking in terms of term limits, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that at all. I think that it's a good idea to go back to what the original founders had, and that was a citizen legislature. And people ask me all the time, I'm in small business,
right?
And I own my business and go to work every day. As a matter of fact, I was at work today before we came over to the barbecue.
Yes.
So I think we need to get back and get away from a lot of those career politicians.
Well, it seems like they've been up there 100 years, some of them, especially in the Democratic Party.
Well, I'd agree with you there too. But no, sir, we do. We've got a lot of people that go up there and choose to make that a career, and I don't think that's what it was intended to be.
Okay. The situation is that a politician, he grows old in Washington.
Well, it's, that's the type, folks, I would say that, it's time to retire. You need some new blood.
Right, absolutely.
You need some new thought. And I think one good thing is people are looking for new leadership out there. Right. They're looking for a new generation of leaders to come in with some new ideas.
Right. Well, the situation is that Senator Johnny Isaacson is doing a good job, but I understand the election coming up is going to be sort of rough on, between the Republican candidate and the Democratic candidate. So what are your predictions there?
Oh, I think Republicans will win that seat. We'll be in the U.S. Senate with a Republican.
Okay, well, that's encouraging words.
Yes, sir. It sure is. I'm an optimistic man.
Well, Mike, I know that you've been working hard. You're continuing to work hard. You're looking forward to July 22nd?
July 22nd. We got out here last May putting out our message that this whole election was about one thing, and that's our economy.
Yes.
It's about jobs, jobs, jobs. Fast forward 12 more months, today, our campaign is about this economy. It's about jobs.
Yes, sir.
Jobs. We've never changed our philosophy. We've never changed our message. And we think that's what's resonated so well with people and put us into the runoff. If you look at the 25 counties in this district, we carried 15 of them. And I cannot express enough how much I appreciate that for a person that's never been in public office.
Okay.
To get that vote of confidence.
Right.
But we got one more big election coming up for us, and we've got a great chance to win this thing.
What have you got to say to the voting public?
If you've not heard of us, I encourage you, please, take a hard look at us. Our website is overhauldc.com, and if you are looking for someone that has some common sense, some good business sense, and good core conservative values, then Mike Collins is the man that you need to send to Congress. And I would love to have your vote. I'd love to have your support, and I appreciate those that are already supporting us.
Mike, I appreciate you stopping by the telephone here today, and I know that you want to get out here and shake some more hands, but we wish you luck.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the time. Sure do. Thank you.
Mike Collins.